Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Sophie Mitchell-Charman, Sales Director here at LendInvest. First slide, please. Thank you all for joining us today for our first event of 2021. The sessions this morning are designed to kick off this year by giving you a firm understanding of what we do, how we do it, and to help us improve how we work together for the year ahead. To achieve that today, we're connecting you with experts and key stakeholders here at LendInvest to help you understand the best ways to work with our criteria and make your lives easier when you're doing business with us. All product areas are covered with 3 streams: buy-to-let, short-term lending, and development finance. I'd like to start today by handing over to our CEO, Rod Lockhart, and our CCO, Matt Tooth, to give you an introduction to LendInvest and an update on what has kept us busy over the last year. Thank you, and Rod, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Sophie. Can you switch to the next slide, please? Is that flick through? So thanks a lot, Sophie. And clearly we're delighted to welcome everyone to this first broker event of 2021. It's brilliant to have so many of you listening in, and I hope during the course of today you'll hear a bit more about LendInvest, understand a bit more about our aspirations, and a bit more about our products too. If you could flick to the next slide, please, that'd be great. So I'm going to provide a business update focusing on the performance of the business through 2020, and then Matt's going to pick up and provide an overview of our short-term lending and also our buy-to-let lending, focusing particularly on the products today, but also our plans and aspirations for the future. If you could switch over a couple of slides, that'd be fantastic. Lots of you will have been working with LendInvest for a number of years now, but there are a number of people listening in that are newer partners to LendInvest. So I just want to start by introducing the business overall. LendInvest is a property finance platform. Whilst we're often considered as a newer lender, we've actually been lending since 2008. So we celebrated our 13-year anniversary just during the course of last week. We started off providing bridging finance, then transitioned to development finance, and then more recently into buy-to-let. We're a growth business, so each year we're focused on growing our loan book and importantly growing our lending and growing the range of products that we're providing into the property finance space. And we've been pretty successful at it. So to the December last year, we completed about 3.5 billion of cumulative lending. Our loan book outstanding was 1.6 billion at the end of last year. One of the key ways in which we differentiate ourselves is through technology. We're building and using technology to make the process of borrowing property finance simpler. And about a third of our 185 employees are all based on building technology. So they're either engineers or product people with that sole aim in mind. And each week we're launching product improvements to that technology and that process. So whilst things might not be perfect today, we're continually improving. If you could flip to the next slide, please, that'd be fantastic. So what have we been up to in 2020? Well, 2020 was a challenging year for us, as it was for most other businesses, and I'm sure many of you listening. But we started reasonably successfully with the shift to working remotely. Being a technology-based business, we were already using cloud-based systems, and a lot of the technology that lenders really had to learn how to use when working remotely, we were already doing it. So things like DocuSign, things like using electronic KYC, those sorts of things were already part of our lending process. And it meant that we were seamlessly able to move to remote working. And actually March of last year was our second ever busiest lending month. So that big shift barely dented our ability to operate, which was fantastic and testament to the agility of the people within the business, as well as the technology. The other key advantage we had, we were very lucky in that we completed a securitization of our loans in early March, which meant that we had lots of lending capital available as we went into that first lockdown. And we took the decision early on that we were going to stay open for business. And clearly, whilst activity levels were a lot lower, with property purchases halted, valuations valuers unable to get access, we were able to switch to provide some desktop products and stay open for our customers through that period. And crucially, as a result of that, we were able to continue to grow our loan book. The other success we have, and because we were able to operate efficiently remotely, we were able to focus on the loan book itself. And there were two areas that in particular that we focused on. One, as you can imagine, in March, we were receiving many payment deferral requests on our buy-to-let mortgages. And because we were able to operate effectively, we were able to efficiently review those requests as and when they came in. And actually, overall payment deferrals for us were a lot lower than other lenders in the industry. And I think testament to our ability to understand those requests as they came through, but also the fact that our portfolio buy-to-let borrowers were able to use income from other properties to make up income shortfalls where they found themselves with them. The other area that took a lot of our focus was our development loan book. As you can imagine, borrowers were dealing with really challenging environment, pauses on site, etc. And we were able to effectively work with our borrowers and deal with that challenging period. The other key decision we made in 2020, having been through the first lockdown and seen the importance of technology to our business, in summer of last year, we made the decision to increase the amount of investment that we were making into technology. So from summer of last year, we're increasing the headcount, particularly on the tech side of our business, so that we can release technology faster. If you could switch to the next page, please, that'd be great. So on the next slide, we set out the results of those actions during 2020. So we have publicly traded bonds, and we publicly report our results every 6 months. We last publicly reported at the end of last year for the period to September 20. And we were delighted to report at that point that our loan book had grown 27% over the previous 12 months. So we've been able to maintain that strong loan book growth. And that was despite the property market effectively being shut for 3 months of that period. Again, over that period, we originated over 700 million of loans. Of course, again, reflected the fact that the market was shut for a large part of that period. So we were delighted with that lending volume. And you can see from the slide here roughly how our volume splits by product between buy-to-let, bridging and development. Historically, if you'd looked at this, the development proportion would be higher. And of course, development activity over this period as a result of the crisis has been a lot lower. Consequently, it's been a lower percentage of our total lending. In any 1 month, we'll be lending between 50 and 100 million pounds. Our highest ever lending month is around 175 million pounds. So we've proven the business model works. We can lend in volume in a busy period, as we're in today. And then the final thing that we were able to report in September, which we were delighted with, was we'd increased the profitability of the business. So despite dealing with the challenges of lockdown, the crisis unfolding around us, we were able to grow our profitability and prove the resilience of the business model, and really a testament to the technology and people in the business. If you could switch to the next slide, that would be great, please. In order to deliver this growth, we've been able to secure some fantastic funding during the course of 2020. The first thing we were able to achieve was to become a CBILS accredited lender from the British Business Bank. So we're able to offer CBILS products to our borrowers during the second part of last year. So that was fantastic. At the same time, we were able to upsize our funding partnership with HSBC, and that allowed us to finance those CBILS loans, but also provide other expand our other short-term lending products. And then, of course, we're also delighted to announce that as of yesterday, we closed a £500 million funding partnership with JP Morgan. And that will really allow us to expand our buy-to-let lending during the course of this year, lending more, but crucially with a broader product range. If you could switch to the next slide, please, that would be fantastic. So one of the other areas that we're particularly proud of within the business is around ESG. And over the last couple of years, we've been really sort of focused on drawing attention to what we're doing from an ESG perspective. And we're proud to have funded the development of over 2,700 new homes, and we've invested over £1 billion in upgrading the quality of residential homes in this country. So hopefully over the coming months and years, we'll increasingly offer incentives where borrowers are looking to do things to upgrade the quality and particularly environmental efficiency of their buildings. With that, I'm going to pass across at this point to Matt, who will hopefully pick up and give you some more detail on our specific business lines. So over to you, Matt.
Rod, thank you. Can we skip ahead 2 slides, please? I've been asked to do a review of our 2 lending divisions, the 2 lending divisions of this business. One is buy-to-let, and the other one is short-term lending. So that's bridging and development lending. And I'm going to summarise the future strategies for each one of those divisions. I really hope that you take away from the presentation, the impression that I really do sound plausible in saying that these strategies are based on providing value for the borrowers, your customers, and in the process creating value for us as the lender, but as also for you as the intermediaries in a partnership together to provide great products and service. So we are in the early years of a buy-to-let journey. So we're 3 years on from setting up the buy-to-let franchise from scratch. And the early focus had to be on sustainability. So we were acutely conscious of the need to get our securitization program and our funding established on the right footing with the risk assets subsequently performing to the very highest standard. So that's been achieved in this period, even though it's been quite a stressed market environment. And we've won some industry awards and plaudits on the way, which is nice. We've been competitively priced all along for the right type of deal, for the right type of borrower, and that's what I'm going to talk about next. Next slide, please. So in buy-to-let, our target borrower is a portfolio landlord. So the current underwriting policy targets the portfolio landlord, and mainly we pick up single loans on single properties coming up for refinance within an existing portfolio. And we pick up new purchases, often into a limited company, more 3/4 of the time into a limited company for an existing portfolio landlord. So it's very common that the customer that we see now has what we describe as mixed ownership. So they have deals in their own name, deals in joint name, and deals in limited company name, all at the same time in the background portfolio. So these are professional landlords. So you'll be able to see our criteria here, and it's pretty straight down the line for a specialist buy-to-let lender. There's one exception, which is that we stress our 2-year deals at 5%, not 5.5%, which we think is sensible in this current interest rate environment. So onto the strategy, the next slide, please. So as to the future for buy-to-let, well, we'll continue to be competitive on price at the prime end of the market, but increasingly, we want to look at broadening the product offer. So broadening that product offer into niches where the competition is a bit more limited and the pricing is a bit more forgiving. And in order to do that, we want to continue to expand our distribution, but to also be really mindful to, at the same time, spend the majority of our time deepening the relationships with the brokers that we've onboarded already. Now, we want to use technology, the technology that Rod referred to our investing in, to make all of our lives easier and simpler. And we want to continue to underwrite sustainably as a specialist lender, balancing risk and reward so that we still meet the expectations of our funders. So we're going to talk about short-term lending next. So if I can skip on 2 slides. So short-term lending, bridging and development lending is somewhere where we already have a mature business. It's different from buy-to-let. It's not 3 years old. It's what the founders founded the business 13 years ago to deliver short-term lending, starting in the bridging market. So we've a mature business with many experienced people supporting a full suite of products, as you'll see on the screen, and we have a strong market position. So the product range should look familiar to anybody who's active in that space. So on to the next slide, please. So they're the products, they're standard in the market, and we think that what would differentiate us in this market is to meet the needs of the target borrowers and to add value for them. So we think there are a few different segments in the short-term lending markets, which we've identified. And we believe that by providing the best product based around the understanding of these borrowers, will make it easier for the intermediaries that we deal with to sell those products to those customers and to deliver value themselves. So we have all the way from an SME developer taking our development finance and pre-construction bridges and dev exits and CBILS loans, all the way down to the homeowner taking our regulated bridges. They're the segments. We think really carefully about how we deliver value to the borrower and to the broker and how we'll beat the competition. Next slide, please. So as to the strategy for the future for short-term lending, it's going to be about some of the things it was about in the past, which is getting pricing for risk right in all the different niches that we operate. It's going to be about building technology to provide a better experience through a new broker portal, which we are hopefully soon to release, which should enable on short-term lending our intermediaries to manage the smaller loans that they send us, so the bridge to let and auction loans, through a portal with us with much greater efficiency. For the business in development finance and the business larger loan bridging loans, we still think that business will remain very much relationship driven and service focused, so we don't plan to deviate from what we do already there. We think that all of this business will be better supported by data in the future. We built up some fabulous data in the background, and in the new broker portal, we hope that we will really surface the value of that data to you in dealing with your customers. And that takes me on to the last slide, the next slide in this section, which brings all this together. So that slide's about success through alignment with brokers. Now, within our business, we talk, teach and preach about the broker being our customer. So we view our relationship with the borrower as of us being a custodian. So we are a custodian of a customer relationship that you have introduced to us, and we try and provide our service accordingly. So we're in partnership with you to create value for that borrower, and we hope to see you and your client come back to deal with us again and again and again because we deliver you value. So accordingly, we aim to get you to the right people to speak to as soon as possible. We to try and keep it as simple as possible for all of us to stop time being wasted, and to support you with products and technology that really add value and that once again save time for you and for us. So we're aligned in wanting to get the most value out of the least time and effort that we all put in, and we're really trying to deliver on that. So hopping ahead to 2 slides to the conclusion here before I hand you back to Sophie. So in conclusion, Rod talked about how we had a robust operational performance through what's been a difficult time, and especially difficult for us non-banks. We didn't get a lot of favours during after that first lockdown. He also pointed out that we had that the credit book that our team has built up performed really well, and that wasn't just absolutely in absolute terms, that was in relative terms too. We've been investing in technology in the background, and we're hoping to surface some of that technology soon and to give benefit to our customers. We've been evolving the product range. It's something that we're conscious that we need to do more of this calendar year, in expanding the product range and giving, capturing more of the transactions that the you intermediaries have. And we're basing all of this around one kind of key strategy and way of thinking, which is that we achieve success through broker alignment. That's really key for us, and that's something that we stress internally. So look, thank you for your attention. Thanks for listening to me. I'm going to hand back to Sophie, who's going to say a few words about what happens next for the rest of the morning.
Thanks, Matt. Oh, sorry. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Rod. Can I have the next slide, please? So now we're approaching the time when you will head off to your first chosen session of the day. You can do this by going back to the agenda page and selecting your preferred route. We have designed the morning for you to follow a chosen product range throughout the event, or for you to change between them to get as much out of the morning as possible. So up next, we have 3 45-minute sessions with Andy Virgo and Jean Clossy to talk buy-to-let, Justin Trauss and Dan Underwood for bridging, and Steve Larkin and Gemma Squirrel for development. These 3 sessions and the subsequent buy-to-let, bridge and development sessions will all happen simultaneously. So please do look at the schedule on the agenda and choose which topics and which presenters you would like to see. You can switch between all the sessions at any time, and all of the content today will be recorded and available following the event. In each session, we do welcome your questions, so please use the Q&A option on the screen to post your questions to the presenters. If unfortunately we don't have time to get through them all, our BDMs will be in touch with you later to help answer those questions for you. You will also see a link for more information. If you click on this, it will take you to the relevant page of our website, and there is also the opportunity to download our product guides and the slides and content from each session. So I hope you all have a great morning, and I will see you all later on this afternoon for the prize draw. Have a great morning. Bye-bye.